This is the Google Pixel 9 Pro, Google's 9th major flagship for the Pixel line. A lot of things have changed in the past decade. AI is the centerpiece of practically any product these days, camera bumps are almost hilariously big, and Google even offers a foldable option if your wallet is feeling just a little bit too full. Smartphones are so different today than they were not even a decade ago, and yet the core experience does still remain the same. This is the first Google Pixel, released October 2016. Boasting a magnificent blue color and eye-catching aluminum and glass design, the phone ran clean stock Android, receiving updates from Android 7 Nougat to Android 10 in 2019. Side note, I really miss when Google used dessert names for each Android iteration, it was fun. For Google's first entry into the market, this seemed like a pretty good start. But of course, it wasn't really Google's first smartphone, with an entire line of Nexus devices coming beforehand, all from a plethora of different Android manufacturers. Why Google decided to rebrand their phones moving forward into the Pixel is, I think, pretty straightforward. They wanted to give their phones their own Google-centric identity, rather than that of whatever company made it. The Nexus line had also gotten somewhat convoluted in recent years, leading up to the Pixel, with 2015 seeing the Nexus 5X and 6P released simultaneously, despite a Nexus 5 and 6 already existing from 2013 and 2014 respectively. Problem was, Google already had a Nexus 7, specifically a line of tablets named after their size of 7 inches, and so Google likely wanted to avoid any sort of Nexus 7 smartphone. It was also around this time Google had begun utilizing their new Pixel branding, starting with the 2013 Chromebook Pixel, and you also had the Pixel C, which was an Android tablet coming out in 2015. It only made sense for Google to drop the Nexus line altogether and refocus their efforts to a new line of phones that could represent them as a company, and their own vision for Android moving forward. A vision that would come with the first Google Pixel, along with each device succeeding it. Hey, how's it going? I'm Josh from 91 Tech, and over the years, Google Pixel smartphones have seen a lot of ups and downs, to put it mildly. The blue-tinted Pixel 2 XL display, the ridiculous 3XL notch, the weird radar stuff on the Pixel 4, but somewhere along the line, Google did seem to get into a groove, releasing more budget-oriented Pixel A models, starting with the 3A, then also beginning to make Pro models not unlike Apple or Samsung. You of course then also have the Pixel Folds, with a new version of that coming this year. Despite Google's challenges, they've always had the resources to stick with the Pixel line, procuring a reputation of having some of the best smartphone photography in the industry. And so today I thought it would be a good time to take a look at exactly where all this started with the first generation Pixel and Pixel XL from 2016.
So today, I'm very excited to introduce you to a new phone made by Google. We call it Pixel.
I have here the Google Pixel XL, which features a 5.5-inch 1440p AMOLED display versus the 5-inch 1080p display on its smaller counterpart. The battery is also a bit larger on the XL, but beyond that, there are no real differences in the hardware. I would definitely prefer the XL model personally, both for the larger battery and display, but ultimately I would never really want to use this phone today for the same reasons as practically any 8-year-old smartphone out there. The hardware and software is outdated, even if the basic performance is mostly spiffy, at least until you get into more intensive things, including even just scrolling through the Google Play Store, which does quickly reveal the age. The display is pretty nice, or it would be if my model here did not have burn-in, severe burn-in. Back when I bought this thing years ago, the seller said it had light and barely visible burn-in. Well, obviously this was an exaggeration, but it's not a big deal since I only have this phone for review, not to actually use, and it doesn't affect the actual experience, only the aesthetics. Burn-in can be a very common issue with OLED devices, especially from this era. You definitely would want to make sure you weren't letting your phone stay on a single image for too long at a time, or you'll get what happened here. One of the best elements of this phone when it came out, and I would argue today as well, is the premium aluminum design with glass on the top part surrounding the fingerprint sensor in the middle, which feels reliable to use and still quite fast. While there's some inherent disadvantages to having the fingerprint sensor on the back, like having to pick up your phone to unlock it when it's just sitting on your desk, it is still a spot your finger naturally rests when you're holding your phone, and so I really don't mind it at all. And that two-tone design, I mean, the blue is so unique, and unlike practically anything we see in any smartphone today, it's also nowadays unheard unheard of to have a camera sitting flush with the back of the phone, no camera bump in sight. This is kind of refreshing, even if the trade-off for the improvements in cameras these days is no doubt worth having the bumps. Although that Pixel 9 Pro, I mean, that camera bump is just absurd. Things have come a long way for sure. Anyways, this phone does feel like a nice change of pace with its two-tone look, complemented by the simple G logo near the bottom. No really big logos, no Nexus word mark, and perhaps most importantly, no non-Google manufacturer logos, making this truly a Google phone, plain and simple. Notably though, while the Nexus line was gone, it certainly wasn't forgotten. Living on in spirit with future Pixels, this phone was actually made by HTC, with Google collaborating heavily. Google actually tried to offer Huawei the contract to make the new Pixel, but this was declined when Google refused to stick the Huawei logo on the device alongside their own. That's what this phone is really all about, the beginning of Google's own smartphone brand, free from the shackles of sharing the spotlight. As much as I love the Nexus line, which was so unique for having so many different Android manufacturers make each new device year to year, there is an element of consistency sort of lacking from those devices, and it makes complete sense Google wanted to just start fresh. There were 3 color options for this phone, including the blue along with a white and black. Unfortunately, only the black color option had black bezels. I've never been a fan of white bezels, and it's not helped by how big they are in the first place. I've talked about this before, but I've got a real problem with old phones that used to have these ridiculous bezels but would refuse to put in a physical home button, keeping instead the digital one. I think Samsung always handled it perfectly until their bezels got thin enough to be rid of the home button completely with the S8, but they had one for years and it allows for the space normally taken with the navigation bar to be used for actual content. You've got all this white space on the Pixel that's just sitting there doing nothing. Mind you, I can live with the thick bezels, but they have to have some sort of purpose. There is no purpose for these, including no front-firing speaker, and that's the thing. The Nexus 5X and the 6P from 2015 both had speakers on their bottom bezels. Black bottom bezels, by the way, making the phones not only look sleeker, but it gave some practical purpose to the unused space. Now, Google doesn't help things by making said bezels more obvious by coloring them in white, but still, it's a waste in my eyes, especially at a time so close to those bezels just being gone altogether. The Galaxy S8 would come out in 6 months and the iPhone X in only a year. But I digress. My phone here is in rough shape cosmetically with some chipped paint, but it's still very sleek, and something I've always liked is the textured power button on the side, which is just a nice little touch. You remember those like differently colored power buttons on some of the other Pixels? I really miss those. I don't know why they went away from it. There is an argument to be made that the Pixels of the past are completely foreign to modern Pixels, and I think there's some merit to it. After the Pixel 5, there was a pretty significant turn in design direction, with the massive horizontal camera bumps becoming front and center, or I guess back and center, and the fingerprint sensor moving to under the display. I also personally really miss the glass and matte finishes contrasting together, which Google got rid of with the Pixel 4. The Pixel 3 and 3 XL from the back are still some of my all-time favorite smartphone designs. I think they're just gorgeous, and the frosted glass was the perfect touch moving from the aluminum of the Pixel 1 and 2. Just don't look at the front of the 3 XL and it's absolutely beautiful. That two-tone style started with the first Pixel, and it still looks pretty great in my opinion. The aluminum does have downsides, like the lack of wireless charging, and we're also missing out on any sort of water resistance, which was pretty bad for 2016. We do have USB-C, as well as the 3.5mm headphone jack, thankfully, something Google was proudly boasting about retaining after Apple got rid of theirs, only to end up doing the exact same thing with the Pixel 2 a single year later. Would it have been so hard to keep it at least one more year, to not look so dumb so fast? In any case, at least we do have it here. We've also got the specs pretty typical for a 2016 Android flagship. We're looking at the Qualcomm Snapdragon 821 processor, 4GB of RAM, and either 32 or 128 gigs of internal storage, with no expandable storage options unfortunately. However, this being a Google Pixel, that means you get cloud storage for free for your photos forever, which, hey, that's pretty cool, assuming those pictures aren't being used to train AI, right Google? Right? Unfortunately, this unlimited photo storage feature only applies to the Pixel 5 and below. It was a smart way for Google to get users in the door, but I guess they decided it was no longer needed as a selling point. On the flip side of this, Google has done a pretty good job with software update longevity, and they've only been improving. Android phones have been always infamous for typically only getting a couple years of updates, if even that, and the Google Pixel thankfully did get from Android 7 to Android 10, which is pretty good compared to the majority of other 2016 flagships. Plus, Google had only guaranteed updates till October 2018, so they actually gave it an extra year. These days, Google is promising updates for 7 years on their newest phones, and assuming they follow through on that, it's pretty nice to see. Definitely a big advantage of going with a Google phone is, as you would likely expect, not only do you get more frequent and consistent Android updates, but you're also now getting those updates for longer. And so the Pixel XL here is helped by having Android 10. Android 10 came out fall 2019, bringing a massive overhaul to the software experience, including the gesture navigation system, a very welcome system-level dark mode, and plenty of other things you would expect in a yearly update. It doesn't quite feel natural to use my Pixel with gestures rather than the typical home button, I must admit, but having the option here does lend a lot in keeping this phone feeling more modern, even if performance can be a bit inconsistent. It also appears there's a good few options for unlocking the bootloader on these phones, as well as installing custom ROMs, which is nice. The community for this phone on the XDA forums appears to be still relatively active, so there's always more you can potentially do. For now though, I'm sticking with the base experience, and I'm a little torn on how to feel about this phone's performance. On one hand, it generally feels smooth enough navigating through the UI and messing around, but it also does start to feel its age when I get into anything even moderately intensive. Trying to watch a YouTube video while installing an app in the background had me infinitely buffering, for example. That being said, if unlike me, you're capable of exercising even a modicum of patience, it appears this phone can still do the vast majority of tasks you might want to do on your smartphone. Its 8-year-old hardware is certainly holding it back, but it's helped massively by the clean, non-bloated stock Google Android experience, and I do think this phone could be a usable device for those who end up stuck with it for whatever reason. Being 8 years old is going to hinder any smartphone, in pretty much any category, and that would include the photography. That being said, I also think this can be a usable experience, believe it or not, as these cameras have held up much better than I would expect from a 2016 smartphone. We're looking at an 8-megapixel selfie camera, which for whatever reason is positioned on the top left of the phone, but it takes fine selfies, nothing crazy here. The single camera lens on the rear is 12 megapixels, and while it's hindered by not having any fun telephoto or ultra-wide options, it still manages to hold its own. Pictures from this phone still very much have that classic Pixel look to them. While not every situation favors the older Pixel with its small camera sensor, ideally you're going to want to take photos outdoors in good lighting, but even in low lights, the Pixel camera app with its night sight does offer some versatility. There is no portrait mode here, but we do have the lens blur feature, which is quite similar. I found the phone wasn't great at handling motion. Taking pictures of my dog often resulted in blurry images as she would move around, but if you're patient, decent results are very possible. And I think all this does go to show how long smartphone cameras have actually been pretty good, even if it's one of those areas they've managed to improve upon the most year to year, as they also get bigger and bigger. There's some real charm to having a camera that sits flush with the phone itself, and for it to actually take some nice photos despite that. Even for 2016, having no camera bump was rare, and nowadays, as mentioned, it's just straight up unheard of. Video recording at 4K 30 isn't so great. The image stabilization feels very janky to me, unnatural, and I can see the age here. Still, overall, I was impressed by the photography of the first Google Pixel, and it's not hard to see how they quickly fostered a reputation of having some of the best cameras in the smartphone industry. Now, I did mention earlier that AI is now the focus of basically every new product coming out these days, but this was actually also the case with the first Google Pixel, as this was in fact the first device to feature the Google Assistant. In many ways, the first Google Pixel is the quintessential Pixel phone. The design is bold and stands out. The software is clean and fresh. The photography is sharp and focused. But the phone isn't perfect by any means. The white, thick bezels have aged terribly, and not even having dual front-firing speakers just feels like a waste. Lacking basic features like water resistance wasn't a good look in 2016, and there was absolutely room for improvement with future Pixel models. And ultimately, the phone didn't end up selling anywhere near the numbers of Samsung or Apple. The 2016 iPhone 7 and 7 Plus saw around 160 million units sold throughout their lifespan. The 2016 Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge saw around 55 million units sold, and the first Pixel and Pixel XL sold over just 3 million. The reality was, and always has been, Google hasn't seen the levels of success they would like to. 2023 saw 10 million Pixels sold, so they've gotten better, no doubt, in part thanks to having more options throughout their lineup. But there's also a lack of true dominance, something their Nexus line also often struggled with. Still, I think this was a fantastic start for Google's new smartphone line moving forward, and in my opinion, the phone has aged about as well as any Android flagship from 2016 possibly can. You've got to respect Google's determination, having just gotten to their 9th Pixel flagship, and only time will tell how many more phones will bear the Pixel name. And so with that, I think I'm right about done here. I didn't have a ton to say about this phone. I do really like it, especially that blue color, if I'm being honest. Did any of you ever have this phone or consider getting it? How do you think it's held up 8 years later? Make sure you leave your comments down below, and if you found this video interesting, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content just like this. Huge shout out to the channel members for being absolutely amazing people, and thank you all so much for watching. I'm Josh from 91 Tech, and I will see you all next time.